Do I buy or do I lease for 2024? Today we're going to talk about one of the most important questions that everyone thinks about. Is it better to buy or rent a home in 2003 or 2024 coming next year? There are people on both sides of the aisle that have very strong opinions about this. So we decided to break it down for you. We hope this information helps you in making a decision. So let's first look at the benefits of buying a home. Some benefits of buying a home are the following. First of all, buying a home is an investment in equity, which is very important. Second, you can make it your own and make the modifications that you like for your enjoyment. And the third point is it's a source of pride and privacy. On the other hand, some of the benefits of renting a home are going to be the following. Renting gives you freedom and flexibility. You can easily move or change your living environment, so it is ideal for families that expect changes in their lives. Point two, renting is hands-off and hassle-free, and you know the exact cost, so there are no surprises. And the point three is renting lets you diversify your investment and invest in whatever that you desire. Based on the information, some people make a decision to buy or rent. On the other hand, there are those that look at long-term investment factor and they like to know which option will allow them to build wealth. By the way, if this video helps you, please subscribe to our channel and like the video since we spend a lot of time putting it together for you. Also, if you want to be notified of our future videos, click on the notification button. We are going to dive deep into nitty-gritty of the financial aspects of both buying and renting and look at long-term results. This will give you a general idea about which option is the right option for you. One thing that I can say is that if your lifestyle is constantly changing and your requirements in the type of living environment or the area you live in changes, then renting is probably a better option for you. Since changing a home that you own will cost you a lot of money, that will come out of proceeds of your transaction. Example of these expenses include land transfer tax, lawyer's fees, inspector fees, mortgage broker fees, and as well as real estate agent commission that you have to pay. This can add up to tens of thousands of dollars. So if you are able to keep a property for 5 years or more, then buying is definitely a great option. We can explore, otherwise it might not be a feasible purchase for your family. In my opinion, calculation of the cost of ownership versus renting is very important when you are thinking of making a move. When you are renting, the total amount of lease that you pay is an expense that you will not get back. However, you might be able to invest your down payment plus the difference between rental amount and the mortgage, and you could have this amount invested for your family. On the other hand, when you buy, you should consider the interest rates and affordability for your specific area. Are you able to make those payments comfortably without affecting your lifestyle? What is the true cost of owning a home? For you to understand this, we will look at two scenarios of leasing or buying. In other words, renting or buying an average price home in our market, which is GTA market. You can apply the same concept to your market area by making adjustment to some of these numbers. To see the differences, we will follow two families for a period of 5 years. One family makes a decision to buy and the other family to rent an average home in our area. We'll look at the sale and rent prices of an average home in GTA, and based on historical data, we will show you the expectation and results for both families. You can have a look at the chart of historical average prices of homes in the GTA on the screen. As we mentioned, in order to be as accurate as possible, we are using the average price of GTA for both rent and sale. For a family that likes to buy a home to live in, we look at the average sale price of GTA for the month of September 2023. The price is $1,119,428. For the purpose of this calculation, we're going to round it to $1,120,000. And we assume that this family is going to put down 20% down payment. The reason is that if the buyer has less than 20%, they have to buy the mortgage insurance, which is substantial cost. We will have another video in regards to mortgage insurance and how it allows you to buy a property with less than 20% down payment and how it affects your bottom line. So look for that video coming soon. With 20% down payment, the family needs to borrow $896,000 based on the price that we gave you. They also need to pay for land transfer tax, lawyer fees, and other closing costs. On a side note, there's a difference in the family buying the home in Toronto or buying a house that is located outside the Toronto Centre Core, since the land transfer tax is almost double in Toronto versus rest of Ontario. Once again, we look at the worst scenario and take the higher number. If the scenario you have is different, to plug in your local cost of land transfer tax. So for the closing of the property, we need $224,000 down payment, $37,750 for the land transfer tax, $2,500 for our lawyer fee, and the total cost is going to be $264,250. We will also assume that the family is paying a 6% mortgage, which is pretty high, but in line with today's numbers. We know that mortgages have been lower for the past 2 decades, but once again, we look at today's numbers. At 6% interest rate, the monthly mortgage payment for $896,000 will be $5,732. This amount equals to $343,920 for 5 years. Part of this mortgage payment is interest and the other part is principal. So we know that in 5 years, we're going to pay $91,063 towards the principal, and the balance is going to be $252,857, which is interest payment. And that's something that we're not going to get back. The principal payment will reduce the amount that we owe to the bank when we sell our property. We also have to pay the property taxes, which in North America is around 1%, give and take. Having said that, the value assessment of the city generally for a home is lower than that. So they give you a lower amount than the actual price of the house. So the amount will be less than 1%. But for the purpose of this scenario, once again, we take the worst case and we take the average annual tax amount of $11,200. So our annual tax is $11,200, and we multiply that by 5 to get the amount for 5 years, which is $56,000. We also consider the same amount for maintenance of the property. This is going to equal to $56,000, so $11,200 a month for 5 years. Total cost, including down payment, total mortgage, and our carry costs will be the addition of all of these numbers that you see on the screen. Now we look at the second family that decides to rent an average 2-bedroom property in GTA. The cost of rent for average property, a 2-bedroom property, is $3,264, according to the second quarter report by Toronto Real Estate Board. This is lower than the rent for our average homes nowadays. But again, we are going to take this amount into the consideration, which is a lower amount. If the family is financially solid and pays $3,264 for rent, they can invest the difference of the amount and the amount that they would have paid for the mortgage into an investment fund. And if we do the deduction, there'll be $2,468 difference. So we're assuming they're investing this amount. We also have to consider that even in rent-controlled properties, the rent can go up by an average of 2% per year. Then the rent costs will go up and the difference or investment amount will decrease every year. We have made the calculation and the total rent that this family has to pay for 5 years is $205,056. We know that our renting family has saved the cost of purchase, which includes the down payment, closing costs, land transfer tax, lawyer fees. The amount is $264,250. They can invest this amount on day one that they rent their house. On top of that, when you compare the total amount of mortgage paid by the first family to our rent, the difference for 5 years is going to be $138,860. We add the property taxes and the maintenance cost. That gives us a total amount of $250,860 that can be invested on a monthly basis in equal portion of $4,181. Please note that in our calculations, since both the owner and the tenant pay utilities and insurance, and the difference between tenant insurance and homeowners insurance is minimal, we did not account for these variables because both families have to pay that, and we didn't include it in our calculations. The family that rents invests a total amount of $515,114. We will consider S&P 500 average return to calculate the return on investment, and our average return for the past 20 years based on the statistics that we receive is 9.75%. That's the average annual return. Our initial investment, which equals the cost of a purchase for first family, was $264,250. So we put that in our bank. An average monthly investment is going to be $4,181. The total value of our investment, including principal and interest after 5 years, is going to be $741,414, and that is a $226,304 return on our investment. Now we will look at our other family that decided to buy the property. We know the total cost of purchase, so we want to know how much this property will be worth after 5 years period of time. For this, we are going to use the average increase in price of homes in GTA. According to Toronto Real Estate Board, the average sale price increase for the past 5 years has been 37.8%. That's total percentage for 5 years, which is substantially lower if you look at the past 10 years, because in the past 10 years, the prices have gone up by 137%. Taking the past 5 years into the consideration, which is a lower number, the home that the family purchased after 5 years will be worth $1,548,360, because we purchased it for $1,120,000, and multiplying it by 1.378 will give you that number. From this amount, we have to deduct all the real estate commission, assuming that you hire an agent to sell the home, as well as the lawyer fees. You can hire a top agent in the city at a rate of 5%, but on top of that, you have to pay HST. And a lawyer, an average lawyer, will cost you about $1,500. So we're going to add that up, and it gives you a value of $88,700 deducted from the proceeds. Here is a side-by-side chart of rent versus buy. As you can see, looking at the family that rented the property, they have a higher return of $226,304.98 in comparison to the family that purchased the house with a return of $139,610. But is it really beneficial to rent instead of buying a house? Keep in mind that we took into account lower increase in value, rent-controlled properties, guaranteed return for S&P 500, and guaranteed investment by the family that rents the property, meaning that they have the discipline to invest. Also, the calculations are based on a 6% interest rate, and if the interest rate goes down, then it will change the scenario in favor of the family that purchased the house. It is very hard to constantly invest on a monthly basis to make sure that your investment portfolio grows continuously. Reality is far from the scenario. In other words, purchasing a property will force you to invest and build your wealth. I hope this video helps you come to a conclusion to make the right decision whether you want to buy or rent. If you enjoyed the video, press the like button, subscribe, and press the notification bell. If YouTube comes up with more buttons, please also press those ones. This was a production of Homilo Realty, and we are looking forward to seeing you soon. If you are thinking of buying or selling, one of our agents can help you in your journey, and we have a group of informed agents that are always up to date with the market stats, and they can give you the advice that you need in order to make a decision. Thank you for watching. By the way, don't forget to check out our other videos that you see on the screen, because we always like you to be informed when you are thinking of investing in real estate.